Hello, welcome to a brand new episode of Dylan Knows, episode 634, How to Domesticate Your Raccoon. I am your teacher, Dylan Lang. I will teach you how to domesticate your local raccoons to turn them into new pets. Actually, I won't. But that will be a story we'll be talking about this week. Another interesting week down the drain. Beers come in a little bit better now. Still got about a week and a half to go on this one. Technically, actually, 2 weeks from today, I will be doing it. So, not that long to go. But yeah, this is the weekend before Thanksgiving. So we have our first big Wicked for Good came out on Friday. So all the build up and stuff like that has happened. And now it is actually physically out. So you can go see that now. And then the next big one will be on Wednesday when Stranger Things Season 5 debuts. And as I will give you a word of advice, I would not recommend going on to Netflix at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday when they are going to drop the Season 5 first 4 episodes. Because everybody in the world is going to be watching it, trying to get on at the same time. It's going to crash Netflix. Most people have a 4-day weekend since it's Thanksgiving weekend, so spread it out a little bit. Check it out on Black Friday or Saturday. You know, you've got plenty of time. Or hell, if you don't want to go Thanksgiving, you can watch it during Thanksgiving. It doesn't matter to me, but, just be aware that everyone's going to be trying to turn it on and watch it at 8 o'clock on Wednesday. My daughter will come home from college on Tuesday, actually. When she's done classes Tuesday, they kick everybody off campus until Sunday. They can come back on then, so it'd be nice to see her. I haven't seen her for any full length of time in a while. Back in weekend before Halloween, I saw her roughly for about 24 hours, and that was roughly about it. Not even that. But still, it was still nice. So it'd be nice to see her for a little bit extra time. My wife, her company's year ends November 30th. Their new year starts December 1st. I don't know why, just how it is. So she has to use her vacation or she loses it. She's been with the company for close to 30 years. She's got like 7-8 weeks of vacation, something like that. And she takes, a week for summer camp and she takes a week for spring break. And she'll take a week for Christmas. Well, actually, she doesn't take a week because the McCormick is closed during Christmas break. And then she'll take a few days here and there, but she just doesn't regularly use her days off. So she ends up having to use them all at this time of the year. It's almost become an annual tradition. She's taking off the week of Thanksgiving again, so 3 days leading to Thanksgiving, and then Black Friday is a traveling vacation day. So you can go into work because work will be open, or you can use your vacation day. It doesn't matter. So they'll be fine either way. So she's going to use that then. And then she was off yesterday, Friday. So she kills 5 vacation days there, and then that's it. And I think she's done because she also took off last Friday as well. So I think she got like that. So she's good on that. My beard, for those who don't know, I will be playing Santa Claus at a Breakfast for Santa fundraising event for my wife's scout troop. And she will, and I will be doing that. So I'm trying to grow a full regular beard. I got my costume this week, but it does have a fake beard. My wife keeps telling me, I don't think it's going to be ready in time. So probably true, and I would have to dye it anyway. Because it's just, look at how a little bit of gray here on this side. I guess I keep forgetting about the reverse on this side, but not much here. But it's been growing since Halloween, so I just want to see how far I can go and how I would look. So interesting. You have your No Shave November. So, and it's been no nut November for me since 2020. So that's besides the point. Anywho, we got that going on. I'm also an old man. My shoulder down to my arm and into my back, into my neck is constant pain. So that's a lot of fun. I am currently also slightly constipated, which pisses me off also to no end. And my feet are still kind of fucked up. I have some issues down there, but it just seems like it's even weirder. So And then I was crouched down kissing my kitty cat about an hour or so ago, and my back calf tightened up on me like a Charlie horse, and it was very painful. Pain right here, which is starting to shoot down here. So getting old sucks. So when I see you next week, it'll be in the middle of a Thanksgiving 4-day weekend, which I'm really looking forward to. Should be exciting. My class order was supposed to go December 1st, and I was all ready to start doing it and pulling it on Monday, but now I got to pull 50 more pairs of pants that was just added to the order literally a week before it has to ship to get, cut and hemmed and emblems put on it, and then I have to bag and tag it. So I'll get it done, but that's going to take a full day to do probably for the most part if they stick with it. So I'm kind of pissed about that. So I got to pull it. I got to get over to sewing. They got to work on it, and they got to get back to me. So fun times. But you're looking forward to a lot of stuff. So yeah. So without further ado, again, work was kind of slow, so I did about 4 pages on here, but then I did about a 1-page front and back on my notepad. So we'll get moving along here. First and foremost, I will not use her name, but a coworker of mine at Hanover, which I shouldn't have used that either, but where I work, has been drafted by one of the 4 new pro women's baseball league teams that starts play this 2026. She was drafted 14th by this team. She is playing for San Francisco. The 4 teams are New York, Boston, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. There's only 4 teams. And I found out from her boyfriend, who also works for us, that they will be playing all their games in Springfield, Illinois this year, since all 4 of them they'll be able to keep them all together in one area and not have them, East Coast, West Coast, flying them back and forth. They just want to see if it's going to be successful. If it's successful, then they will probably move to their home cities and probably maybe add a few more to make it a little bit more conducive to having a league. But the fact is that she auditioned for it. It's not really audition. I can't really, I don't know what the proper term is. So I just used audition to be picked to be in the draft class. She succeeded with that. And then they had the draft this week, and she was drafted 14th by San Francisco in the 14th round. San Francisco picked her out of 30, so that's about halfway through the teams. That's pretty cool. Her teammates, I looked at the list of other women who were drafted around her. They're from all over Japan, South Korea, Canada, and a few more in the United States as well. So she will be playing this summer for San Francisco's pro women's baseball team. So I'm really proud of her for that. I've known her for about 2 or 3 years now. She was also, when Netflix or Amazon did a League of Their Own TV show, it only lasted a season. She was cast as a regular kind of, not a main character, but sort of a recurring character on one of the other teams that played the main characters. Every once in a while, she would show up in certain baseball scenes and do stuff like that. Also, a woman I went to college with, Saida, she was in that series as well. So that was kind of good. So she's got some experience and all that. So congratulations to her. We're all very proud of her. She's been out the last 3 days, obviously doing the draft stuff. She'll be back on Monday, and we'll be able to really cheer her on then. So very cool. Chadwick Boseman got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame this week. So that's always nice to see that. Very well attended and well worth it too. How to Train Your Dragon 2, the live action sequel, has started. Will start production in December, so we'll be seeing that sooner than later. Sam Raimi will be producing and maybe directing a remake of Richard Attenborough's Magic, which is a 1978 film about a killer ventriloquist doll, which is weird. When I saw Richard Attenborough's name attached to that, he directed Gandhi and was also in Jurassic Park as he played Hammond, and was also Santa Claus in Miracle on 34th Street. But the fact that he directed a horror film about a possessed ventriloquist doll, and Sam Raimi, who is a great horror-ish director, will be producing and potentially directing it. That's pretty decent as well. Lanterns, the series on HBO Max about the Green Lantern Corps, which was supposed to come out in early 2026, has now been pushed to late summer 2026, maybe to come out after Supergirl. Maybe what happens in Supergirl is going to have some ramifications on what happens in Lanterns, and they did some reshoots maybe, and they needed to move it back so that it doesn't reveal something before Supergirl comes out. So that's the only thing I can think of really why they might be doing that. So that's pretty cool. So we'll see. That's been moved to the end of summer 2026. That means probably August, September 2026. So that's decent. Happy birthday boy Mark Ruffalo. His birthday is today. His TV show Task has been renewed for a second season. So good for him. It's always worth it to find those that video where Mark Ruffalo and Scarlett Johansson, who are doing interviews for the various Avengers movies, always have the same joke because they share a birthday. Obviously, Ruffalo is older than Scarlett Johansson, but the joke is someone asks about the birthday or whatever, and Scarlett Johansson's birthday was like, it's November 22nd, and Mark Ruffalo's, your birthday is there's no, it doesn't say what it is, but somehow they get on discussion about birthdays and when's your birthday, and they both say November 22nd. So it's kind of funny, but yeah, happy birthday to Mark Ruffalo, to Scarlett Johansson. Mark Ruffalo's show Task is renewed for a second season. Also, happy birthday to Mark, who runs the Baltimore Comic-Con and also my comic book store up the street. It's his birthday, Mark Nathan. His birthday is today as well. So happy birthday to him. We get our first trailer for the new Hunger Games film, Sunrise on the Reaping. Looks pretty decent. So that's probably going to be a big winner next year. We also got our first look at Hoppers, which is Pixar's new film, set to debut on March 6, 2026. Leighton Miser, Jared Padalecki, and Andy McDowell are set to be cast in the holiday rom-com The Bodyguard on Netflix. They talked about it last week. I was wondering if it was a remake of the Kevin Costner movie. It is not. It's on Netflix, and Netflix has been churning out these Hallmark-esque Christmas movies lately, and this is one of them. Alone at Dawn. I think I talked about this one also. Anne Hathaway, Adam Driver, and now Betty Gilpin have joined the Amazon MGM film. We get Wake Up Dead Man posters and the Wake Up Dead Man teaser trailer. The second one, really, for the third Knives Out movie, which is set to come out in movie theaters, limited release day before Thanksgiving, and will be out on Netflix December 12th. And again, director Ryan Johnson is pissed at Netflix for not doing a wider film release or theater release for his film. I have to agree with that. I think when Glass Onion came out last year, in movie theaters, or 2 years ago, whenever it was, when they released it for a week in movie theaters, in the movie theaters it was in, it generated a ton of money, and it would probably make a lot more if you would just release it in movie theaters before you put it on Netflix. But again, you've got to watch out for these sort of these not just Netflix, but Apple TVs the same way, and Prime and all this stuff. They want to keep their movies on their streamer which would cause people, they would see these films and say, oh, I want to see this film, but it's not available in the movie theaters. You have to either become a member of MGM or Apple or Netflix or whatever to be able to see it. And I get that because they're trying to, make some money on it, but still you can make money on it when it's in movie theaters also. And you're still going to have people, if they like the movie, they're going to want to see it again. And so they'll be able to watch it on Netflix. So I don't know. Big surprise this week. We got our first behind the scenes look at the filming of the new live action Legend of Zelda movie, which is not set to debut till 2027. It's currently filming in New Zealand, and it looks decent. So we'll see what's going on with that. Twinkies Candy Bells are coming out just in time for the holidays. They are a treat that has cream filling in them, so it's not quite Twinkies, but it's similar. But they're Christmas Bell-esque things, so it's a holiday. Sort of like, basically, it's like a holiday Twinkie for the most part. Grimm, an adult animated series. Is being developed by Wednesday producers based on the Boom Studios comic. I don't know if it's going to be on Netflix also, but they are doing that. A new Puss in Boots movie is in the works right now. Kristen Bell and Idina Menzel and Josh Gad have all gotten a good amount of payments of upwards of $60 million combined to return for Frozen 3 and 4. So we'll be getting Frozen 3 and 4 here soon. Fortnite's Simpsons event season is going to end next weekend, November 29th. We are going to be getting a massive event, which we haven't had in a really long time. Trailer for it came out this week. It looks exciting. They're going to be bringing back all the collabs they've had and introducing some new ones, including the bride from Kill Bill and Marty McFly and the DeLorean from Back to the Future. And it looks like they're all going to be fighting. And we're also going to return of the Seven, which is a group in the Fortnite mythology that had been seen since chapter 5, maybe chapter 4, I think. Actually, was when they last appeared. Cane's, the fast food chain, is set to be selling a Christmas Story merch. I've been noticing a lot of Christmas Story hate lately on Threads and other places as well, and it kind of annoys me because it's one of my favorite Christmas movies. I can get it. I understand probably why people are pissed at it, but it is now trendy to hate on it. But not enough so that Cane's has decided to release a bunch of merch based around their mascot they have as well. I think you can buy some of it in any Cane stores nearby you, but the majority of them you'll have to buy online. And they're typical little stuff, like their mascot's like a dog, and you have them dressed up in various Christmas Story costumes, like the rabbit outfit and the coat that his brother wears and stuff like that. So Randy wears stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, merch seems to be the new big thing now. A lot of these fast food places are selling all different types of merch for different movies and television shows like that. So it's the newest trend now. Next year, rather, I should say, Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. We're San Leguizamo, Zendaya, and Robert Pattinson's character. Robert Pattinson is not playing Hermes as expected. Robert Pattinson will be playing Antiochus, one of the suitors for Anne Hathaway's Penelope character. Zendaya will be playing Athena. And John Leguizamo, I don't know who he's playing. I did not know Mia Goth was in this as well, but we got a first look at her as well. And some more looks at Matt Damon. It still looks good. We still haven't gotten a full-fledged trailer for it yet. Maybe next month or maybe for the Super Bowl. We should be getting one eventually, though, soon, but I'm looking rather forward to it. Anniversaries: One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest debuted 50 years ago this week. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 debuted 15 years ago this week. The Dragon Ball Z manga debuted ago. I didn't know it was that freaking old. Wow. That's 1986 is when the manga came out. Holy God. So, no, 1984. Excuse me. 1984 is when that came out. So crazy. Charlie Brown Thanksgiving debuted 52 years ago this week. That was in 1973 when I was born. And Ghostbusters Afterlife, one of the best legacy sequels, debuted 4 years ago this week. And The Day After debuted 42 years ago this week. For those who don't remember that, and there were a few people who didn't, because I posted it on my Facebook page, and there were people who were same age as I was like, yeah, I remember watching this when I was a kid. And there was someone who was like, nope, never watched this, didn't know what it's about. Let me explain to you what it was like growing up in the 1980s real quick. 42 years ago makes that 1983. And during that time, we're in the middle of what we call the Cold War. You've probably heard of that. That was a time when Russia was under communist rule, and Ronald Reagan was president, and he absolutely despised communists, believed that they were going to try to take over the world. And so we had a secret war, as it were, going on between us and Russia. Nothing really, no actual physical skirmishes, maybe a little tiffs here and there in different locations, but nothing really broke out about that. It was also about nuclear proliferation. That was what The Day After was about. The Day After was basically a made-for-television movie about what would happen if the Russians dropped a nuke on the United States, what it would be like to lead up to it, when it exploded, and what happened afterwards, sort of thing. It was a scary film, and actually a actor who would go on about, 8 some years later, would join a little TV show, one of my favorites, called Northern Exposure. John Cullum was in it. But was basically, it freaked the fucking hell out of everybody, because that was right in the middle of the Cold War, right in the middle of nuclear proliferation. And it was very realistic portrayal of what would have happened if a nuclear bomb was dropped on the United States. House of Saul. I didn't write this down, but it just made me think of this. There's been like a commercial that's been replayed on Reels lately, saying this scarred children back in '83 also, I think. And it's a Christmas commercial, and Santa Claus is flying around delivering presents, and then a nuclear missile comes and blows up Santa. And it's like, you can't let the Russians get the nuclear bomb, or something like that. It's fucked up, man. But it's really, in retrospect now, it's funny to watch it now. And Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2 debuted 10 years ago this week. Deaths: Robert Petranton, a TV commentator, I guess. TV community, something or other. Died 55 years of age. And Gary Manny Mournful, a Stone Roses legend, passed away as well. Stone Roses is a band. I don't think I've heard of them. So, let me tell you about how stupid MAGA is. This is your MAGA moment. I've been watching a lot of TikToks and Reels lately where MAGA morons come on and say something stupid, and a liberal guy comes on and explains the reason why they're stupid. So that makes me feel better, because it just shows how stupid these people are, but it also scares the hell out of me, because these people truly believe everything that they've been reading and they see, and they believe it's actually going to happen. Zarhov Mondami, who was elected mayor of New York, has been really roughing up MAGA lately. They've been freaking the fuck out lately, and we'll talk about him a little bit later in the show. But he has not even taken over as mayor. He's mayor-elect right now. He doesn't take over until 2026, I think January 2026. Fox News and GOP and MAGA are calling him communist, socialist, whatever. He is a Democratic socialist. Oh, you know who else was? Franklin Delano Roosevelt was also. And the reason why the GOP despises him is because the ideas that he has, if successful, which they will be, will prove that all the bullshit that the rich people have been feeding us, that these sort of programs don't work, or it makes you soft or whatever, is more to feed the coffers of the obscenely rich. Whereas democratic socialism, if done properly, can help everybody live a better life than they are. So they're freaking out about that. So they're calling them communists and all this stuff and other names under the sun. This dude makes a TikTok saying that the Macy's Day Thanksgiving Day Parade has been canceled. He's talking about this year's. That's due out on Thursday. It's been canceled due to the fact that Mondani has ordered the Macy's company to pay him like $10 million to rent Fifth Avenue for the week or for the day for the 3 hours that the parade runs. And he literally comes out and says it's been canceled. Again, Mondani is not mayor. Second, he would never fucking do that anyway, because that's not how things are done. That sounds something more along the lines of what your Lord and God King would do if a parade tried to go down Pennsylvania Avenue in front of the White House. He would charge them millions of dollars to use Pennsylvania Avenue. It sounds like something your guy would do. Not Mondani. He doesn't give a rat's ass about that type of stuff. And third, it doesn't matter. It's fake news, because literally the story before I saw this video of this dude saying that the Macy's Day Parade has been canceled is talking about 2 new floats that will be in the Macy's Day Thanksgiving Day Parade. If it's been canceled, they would not be talking about these 2 new floats, one of which is the Stranger Things one. You're going to see a Demogorgon at the Macy's Day Thanksgiving Day Parade, which is fucking awesome. And the K-pop Demon Hunters one also. Luckily, the video had the liberal guy absolutely annihilating the dude. And it just makes my head spin that these morons believe this stuff. So, whatever. Speaking of K-pop Demon Hunters, English Catholic school has banned their songs from being sung because of the connotation of demons, even though they're demon hunters. And that might also include the song sung by the demons, Soda Pop and all that. And if you want to talk about, spoiler alert, one of Huntrex being a demon also and singing songs too, you can do that also as well. But they say because of the connotation, the connection to demons, they will not allow anybody to listen to or sing K-pop Demon Hunter songs while they're in the English Catholic school. Morons. Justin Tucker, former Ravens kicker, has finished up his 10-game suspension due to his unwanted touching of massage therapists here in Maryland. He has signed with the Green Bay Packers. So he, as I expected, he was going to sign with a potential playoff team. To help them make a run. His first appearance very well could be tomorrow in the game with the Packers. Wilderness Reform is a new horror adaptation based on a novel that hasn't come out yet, but it was popular enough that it has been automatically turn into an adaptation. That happens a lot more than you expect. Fans of Stargate, now to Stargate was a movie that came out in the 90s. Kurt Russell, James Spader playing an actually normal, nice dude instead of his usual psychopathic bad guys. And Kurt Russell playing a typical general sort of thing. They discover a Stargate, which is an entranceway to another planet, and they get involved in a war over there. It became hugely popular. Movie was a very big hit. And they spun it off into a TV series that became a cult classic on the, close to like a Star Trek level sort of fan obsessions with it. And it spun off a couple of other shows from it. SG-1 is another one, and a few things as well. Amazon Prime is going to, and the last TV shows came out sometime maybe 10, 15 some years ago. Amazon is set to produce a new Stargate TV show for fans of that. So they should be really excited for that. Hopefully it'll be done very well. Taika Waititi has signed a deal with 20th Century Fox, Hulu, and FX to produce content. First up is a fashion comedy series called Last Look. Oh, and there's my kitty. Scared me. You scared me, Pep. Can't see him because he's dark. Oh, you see the eyes real quick? There he is. He's right here. You can't see him, though. Look, you just get the eyes and the tongue. How creepy is that, huh? But yeah, there's a little demon crawling all over me. So I can't be seen. Look at that. That is so creepy. Look at that. Look at you. Just your eyes appearing. Now you're smelling my hair. You scared me, buddy. Hi. I love you. Yes, hi. Jumanji 3 has started filming. We also get our first look at the cast. The whole original cast is back. Kevin Hart, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Karen Gillan, and Jack Black. The first look just basically has them all in their usual costumes that they wear during these movies. Hi. You're my key boy. We are first look at Cameron Johnson, a character in One Piece, in the live-action One Piece that's coming out next year. We got our first look at him. We got a look at Captain Smoker last week, and now we got another look at another new character who will be making an appearance. New to those who've never read One Piece, but the fans of it are excited about how they are looking, and excited about that. With Wicked coming out this week, the sequel to Wicked for Good. It's not really a sequel. It's a continuation of Wicked, I should say. There's a whole debate now going on. Is it a true sequel? No, it's not. It's a continuation of the story because if anyone knows anything, Wicked is a musical. It's a long musical, and it's split into two parts, and they did the same thing with the movie. The first part was the first movie. The second part of the musical is now the second of the movie. It's out now. An Oz documentary from Leonardo DiCaprio's production company is in the works right now. Could be very interesting because of all the interesting stuff that went down during the making of Wizard of Oz. Hopefully it'll go more in depth about the terrible working conditions and all the crazy stuff that happened, including actors that almost died due to makeup or fire. You've heard all these rumors before, right? The original Tin Man had to quit because he had an allergic reaction to the Tin Man makeup that could have killed him if he would have stayed in it. Margaret Hamilton almost caught fire in the sequence where she disappears in Munchkinland near the beginning of the film. When she goes down into a trapdoor, a fire thing that shows smoke going off went off about the same time and almost set her on fire. Judy Garland was treated horribly because that's how they treated kids back in the 30s. The Munchkins, if you've ever seen the movie Under the Rainbow, it's freaking hilarious. Not a lot of people know about it, but it is basically about how the Munchkins were all drunken, sexual perverted people, and they would come onto set drunk and surly and stuff like that. And of course the rumor about one that committed suicide. There's plenty of stories that this documentary can cover. The poppies, the snow that's used to wake up our band of merry travelers during the poppy sequence was asbestos. Fun stuff like that. Gotta love the 1930s. So looking forward to that, actually. Major League Baseball has signed a new deal with Netflix, NBC, and ESPN for broadcast rights to their games. Netflix will be airing like an opening night game, the home run derby during the All-Star game, and the Field of Dreams game that is played every year at the Field of Dreams field in Iowa. They'll be doing that. They'll probably maybe get some playoffs eventually down the line, but for now, they're just getting that right now. NBC, who does Sunday night football, is going to be doing Sunday night baseball. So NBC is basically giving up their Sunday nights now, as they have now. Instead of doing scripted shows on Sunday nights like they used to do, now they do football. And now they're going to do baseball once that starts. So there's going to be a window between when football ends in February, when baseball physically starts, like in April or May, or March or April, end of March. It's really not that big a window. It's about a month and a half that they're going to have to fill that time slot with something else, probably a game show or something like that. But yeah, so that's pretty interesting. So they'll be doing that. And then ESPN just is going to continue. They have a Monday night baseball game, I think, and they do some other stuff too. So they're continuing with that. Curacao has become the smallest nation ever to qualify for the World Cup. So congratulations to them. Night Patrol is a new film starring Justin Long and CM Punk about vampire policemen. Something that really has been covered, but okay. Daisy Ridley is in a new zombie film called We Bury the Dead, which we got our first trailer for. Typical sort of zombie sort of stuff. The New Orleans Saints are expected to play an NFL game in Paris as soon as next year. That's the one city in Europe that they haven't played a game in yet. So it just makes sense for the NFL to start making there, and having the Saints do it is kind of interesting. So having them do that is good. So that's a decent sort of thing as well. Also, it looks like the Washington Commanders, who played a game overseas this year, will be playing another one overseas next year. It was announced today or this week. And also the first football game in Australia is coming next year, when the Steelers go down to Australia to play somebody. Watch it be the Ravens. It'll be funny. Dick Van Dyke, who I think just turned 100 or is very close to it, still would like to play Ebenezer Scrooge before he dies. I don't think it's going to happen, but could be interesting. A United Nations TV show is set to be in the works right now, and the rumor is that Kevin Costner could potentially be playing Bill Clinton. So we'll see if that actually comes to fruition. Utqiagvik, former Alaskan town called Barrow, is now reverted back to its native name, Utqiagvik. Will not see the sunrise again until January 22nd. This week had their last sunset for more than 30 days. 30 Days of Night, the vampire movie and comic, is set in that area. So they will not see the sun again until January 22nd. So from now to January 22nd, no sunshine. There's other places in the world that have that as well, but that's the furthest north in the and this is the United States. There's islands that are not connected to the United States that are deal with it also. But this one is the United States, the furthest northernmost town will not have sunshine again until January 22nd. It's the first hurricane season in 10 years where a hurricane did not land in either the Gulf or the United States. No, it didn't hit land. So there were no there are no hurricanes that hit the United States, either via the Gulf of Mexico or via the Atlantic Ocean. So that's crazy. Snow was spotted on the summit of Mauna Kea in Hawaii. They got snow before Denver, which never really happens that much. Mauna Kea does get snow, but still it's weird to hear a place in Hawaii getting snow, but they did. Simon Pegg announces that they will be potentially a new film where reteams with Nick Frost and Edgar Wright to continue the I forget the name of the trilogy that they've done. That includes Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. I watched all three of those July 4th week. Liked two of the three. World's End was okay, but it wasn't great. So this could be their fourth one. Soleto storyline, whatever. So today's episode was entitled How to Domesticate Your Raccoon. Scientists have discovered, studying certain raccoons, that they appear to be undergoing an evolution before our eyes. Their faces are looking softer. Their snouts are getting shorter. Their ears are getting bigger. Their tails are getting fluffier. And scientists are believing that this is the first sign that raccoons are prepping for domestication. Makes a lot of sense because raccoons are always around people. We had Rocket Raccoon who popped up on our deck for years, and then we believe a new one named Rocket has popped up recently. We haven't seen either of them in a while, but they would come up onto our deck and dig through our recyclable bin, and then they would see us. They'd come to our door and like put their hands on the door, and they'd let us take pictures of them and stuff like that. So raccoons look like they're getting ready for domestication. So we'll see that, but that is a true thing. It's not made up story, whatever. Scientists are starting to think that we're watching evolution before our eyes. And before we know it, we could have domesticated raccoons as pets. So we'll see. Anniversaries. Murphy Brown, the TV show, debuted 37 years ago this week. That was one my dad liked a lot and got me, and one of the things I used to watch with him all the time. It's a decent show. I didn't know this was this old. Siskel and Ebert did their first ever show 50 years ago. Granted, they're both passed away by now, but Siskel and Ebert were those guys. Not when they first started out 50 years ago, but once the 80s hit and all the movies that came out in the 80s, and then TV became more and more prominent, stuff like that, their syndicated show at the movies became a huge hit. And every movie ad you would see in the newspaper or on television, if Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs up, would put that in their commercials or their ads, because Siskel and Ebert were that type of person. Now, critics, I've never been a big fan of listening to what critics say. The critics, this is their opinion. If they like something, you might not like it. If they don't like something, you might like it, or you might agree on stuff. But they sort of got to the point where they were the first like influencers, where basically, they could make or break your movie by giving it thumbs up or thumbs down. Now, that's not exactly the case, and maybe someone needs to go back and do research to see how a negative review affected them. A good example off the top of my head is a movie that came out 35 years ago this week. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Home Alone, where Siskel and Ebert absolutely hated it and gave it thumbs down, and it became one of the biggest grossing movies of the year. Overachieved in the biggest sense, so people didn't listen to him at that point, but it was something that every ad you would see, every TV ad, if they gave it thumbs up, it would be one of the first things they would say, Siskel and Ebert give it 2 thumbs up. It became, as I said, they were influencers. So, yep. This time frame again seems to be a popular one for a bunch of series, different types of movies, and do these anniversary ones. I'll explain. The first one up here is The World Is Not Enough, a James Bond film, debuted 26 years ago this week. This is not the only Bond movie on this list. I think there's about 2 more that debuted this week. Different anniversaries. National Treasure, a phenomenally great Nicolas Cage film, debuted 21 years ago this week. Part of it's set in Philadelphia. I watched it for the first time when I was working at Diamond Comics, and I was working a convention in Philadelphia, and I was in my hotel room, and they had the movie on in the hotel room, so I watched it. So I was watching National Treasure, filmed in Philadelphia while in Philadelphia. The Gettysburg Address occurred 162 years ago this week. So this week, the Gettysburg Address. Last weekend, my wife went to Gettysburg with her scouts. They did a camping trip and a hiking trip, but there was a luminary. The luminaries, if you haven't gone up to Gettysburg yet, go up there now for Veterans Day and for the Gettysburg Address and stuff like that. Which is weird because the Battle of Gettysburg was in July. I guess this was the aftermath of it, where he came to visit the war site after it passed away. But they made a big deal about it being 162 years ago this week. The luminaries are really nice, and my wife and her scout troop helped set them up this year. They're really, really nice up there. So Gettysburg Address 162 years ago this week. And that's all the anniversaries I have. The only death I have on this page is Dawn Little Sky, a Disney employee growing up who eventually got a job on the TV show Rawhide and then became a Disney animator. And apparently, due to her name, sounds like she was a Native American. She passed away at the age of 95 this week. Excuse me. I cannot have a show without me yawning. All right. James Cameron and Robert Rodriguez have pledged a blood oath to make a second Battle Angel Alita film. The two of them worked together on the first one. Rodriguez directed it. Cameron and Rodriguez wrote the script for it, and Cameron produced it. Haven't seen it yet. I have the Blu-ray. I just need to sit down and watch it. I've heard it's a pretty decent film. And it does have like a cult following. So the fact that Cameron and Rodriguez understand this and want to try to get another one done, they're working on it. So hopefully it'll start happening eventually. How to Make a Killing with Glenn Powell and Margaret Qualley is set to release on February 27th. Not much known about that, but that's interesting. After a little bit of a breather, Ted Lasso is back over in England, continuing filming of season 4. They are currently, the behind-the-scenes shots we've seen appear to be having an episode or 2 set around Christmas time because there's lots of Christmas tree decorations, stuff like that. And in a collection of like a video reel sort of the filming of that had a lot of quick shots of the cast and crew. We saw a quick shot of the girls' soccer team, football team that he will be coaching. He and Coach Beard will be coaching this year and this season. We got a quick look at them at this Christmas, whatever they're doing thing, but it looks like that they will be doing another Christmas episode or setting a portion of the season during Christmas time. So that's always cool. Guns Up, Kevin James and Christina Ricci's action comedy hits Prime Video on December 1st. Kevin James has started to change up things a little bit. He just did an action comedy with Jason, not Jason, the guy who plays, what's his name? Oh, well, it doesn't matter. But there we go. New trailer for Project Hail Mary debuted this week. Took a look at it. Still looks like a good adaptation and a good movie. That's set to debut in March 20th, I believe. Yeah, I knew I had written that. I wrote it down again. Yep, there it is right there. So I'll just catch that there. Billy Magnuson is set to star in Mattress Mac. Mattress Mac, I think. A biopic about a philanthropist who owns a furniture store based on a true person. Ryan Coogler has announced his next film will be Black Panther 3. So I don't know exactly what he's doing with the X-Files. I don't know if he's just developing it for TV or if he's developing a movie, someone else directing it. I don't know. But it looks like Ryan Coogler's next project, he says, will be Black Panther 3. Now You See Me 3 opens with the $75 million global debut. Became the best film of the week, beating The Running Man. A fourth movie in the series is now starting to get in the works right now. And I was looking at it and I made the comment that it looks like it's trying to become the next Fast and Furious franchise, which is the movie's about magicians who solve crimes and stuff like that. So crazy. Christian Bale is set to is in talks to co-star in Heat 2 with Austin Butler, Leonardo DiCaprio, and a whole bunch of other big famous people as well. That could be a huge film also, with Michael Mann returning to direct it. There's political stuff, but I might do that. Noah Centineo, who is becoming one of the hottest new actors out there. He just got cast as young John Rambo in the Rambo prequels. And he did something else also. There he is. Now you see him a bit better. But he has just inked his new deal for another new picture he's going to be doing. He's going to be teaming up with the luscious Sydney Sweeney in a live-action adaptation of Mobile Suit Gundam. So we have our male and female leads now. So the fact that we have them, that could mean that the film is going to be starting production sooner than later. So that's pretty decent. All right. Hi, big boy. You stink. Do you take a poopies? Now we're a little political here. Almost named this episode Repairing the Timeline, but we'll have to wait and see what's happening. But things seem to be shifting now. This week, the beginning of this week, they made the vote to release the Epstein files. And Trump has 30 days to release them. He still hasn't yet. And if he doesn't, there are threats that people are going to read the names that are on it anyway. So it's going to get out there anyway. And the survivors are also planning their own sort of list as well. So we've got all that covered as well. Now, I talked about Mondani earlier. Trump especially has been going after him online and stuff like that. Mondani, though, decided he wanted to go visit Trump on his own. Wasn't invited by Trump. He asked if he could come visit, and he acquiesced. And everybody was freaking out about that because they thought he was going to get attacked like Zelensky did, or was going to be deported or assassinated or whatever. So people were freaking out about that. Turns out they didn't need to worry about it because Zandani, we don't exactly know what happened, absolutely charmed the pants off of Trump. They had a closed-door meeting, and then they came out and actually met the press in the Oval Office. And Trump was absolutely beaming and talking about how great New York City is going to be with him as mayor, how he's such a great guy and a nice guy, and stuff like that, which is absolutely counter to what all of MAGA has been saying. They've been saying that he should be removed and deported and all this stuff. And now their king, lord and king, is fawning all over this guy. Meanwhile, Mondani's just taking it cool as he can. And a reporter asked him, do you still believe that Trump is that the president is a fascist? And Trump literally jumped in and says, it's okay if you want to say yes. So Mondani just goes, yeah, I believe he's still a fascist. And he said, I've been called worse, stuff like that. He absolutely was fawning all over him. And then today, he before he left for wherever he was going, he was dressed down and dressed as how Mondani looks, or like the sort of cool sort of hipster sort of jacket with a scarf around his neck. So it was fucking hilarious, and no makeup on either. It was fucking hilarious that he was absolutely charmed by this guy that not 2 weeks ago he was absolutely calling for his deportation and or murder. And the MAGA GOP people are absolutely losing their fucking minds about this because they thought that was their talking points. So now they're saying, what the hell is going on here? He's supposed to be the enemy. So the MAGA people are absolutely losing their fucking minds over this. And then on top of that, literally right after all that happened, Marjorie Taylor Greene comes out with a press conference and says, I will be retiring on January 5th, 2026 from Congress. So she will not be a congressperson anymore. Now, again, she's been showing signs of changing lately. Don't buy it. She's absolutely playing a long game right now. And this just shows that even more how sick and twisted she is. She could have quit right now. It wouldn't have stopped her. She waited till January 5th because that's when her pension is kicked in. So even though she's not retiring from the political office yet, and cannot because she's not old enough yet, once she does, she will get her $15,000 a year pension from the U.S. government because she's staying until January 5th. Now, rumor is saying, why all of a sudden is she doing this? She's been speaking out about Trump and MAGA and the GOP. Trump has turned on her. So the theory is, there's a couple of theories. One is she's going to leave the House of Representatives, and then she's going to try to run either for Senate or for president and build herself up as the true MAGA person, particularly with this whole Mondani situation now that is confusing the MAGA because they're stupid ass morons that have no idea what the fuck is going on with their Lord and King. They don't know, should we hate him? Should we not? What are we supposed to do? Someone tell us what to do, because they cannot make their own decisions. The other rumor is that the reason why she is doing it early is that she believes that with Trump turning on her, that he's going to turn over the evidence he has that she was the bomber on January 5th, 2021, right before the January 6th insurrection. For those who don't remember that, the night before the January 6th insurrection, a masked individual, female, was spotted on video cameras around those buildings, dropping a bomb device into a trash can nearby the Capitol building. Everyone believes this to be Marjorie Taylor Greene, who had just gotten elected to the House of Representatives in 21. The reason why they believe it was her, twofold. One, she had already asked Trump for a pardon. Why would you ask for a pardon if you didn't do anything? And second, Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think, is missing some toes on her feet. So she has special shoes that she uses to walk. And the perpetrator had very similar shoes and had a similar gait and walk as Marjorie Taylor Greene does. And Marjorie Taylor Greene was one of the representatives who was helping the January 6th insurrectionists into taking over the Capitol building. So the rumor is that Trump is going to release that to Patel, the head of the FBI, and she's going to get busted for that. So we'll see what happens with all that. But a lot of people are now saying, what the hell is going on? Is this the end times? Does this mean the timeline is fixing itself? And I found the absolute perfect GIF that I put to everybody's responses to this, which is Loki from season 2 grabbing one of the timelines and bringing it back to life. So it's absolutely perfect gift. And I've used it like 5 or 6 times, and everybody loves it because I have tons of likes on it. And the first human known to be infected with the H5N5 version of the bird flu has died. And of course, our CDC, Department of Health guy, Robert Kennedy Jr., is an absolute total fucking moron, lunatic, and we're all going to die from this. So, kind of counterintuitive to what we were all saying. The timeline's being repaired, but who knows? We'll see what happens. Lots of anniversaries this week. It's crazy how many we actually have. First up, the first appearance of the Chupacabra was 30 years ago this week. Addams Family Values debuted 32 years ago this week. That's another one that there's going to be, everyone who did the Addams Family movies like this time period too. That has a perfect Thanksgiving-esque set piece in the movie where Wednesday and Pugsley are at summer camp, and the end of the camp play is the first Thanksgiving, and Wednesday and Pugsley and all the loser special campers who aren't rich white people absolutely destroy it. It's fucking hilarious. One of the funniest things ever. Plus, it has one of the great gifts I use and videos I use every Thanksgiving, which is Pugsley dressed as turkey saying, "It's Thanksgiving Day. Eat me. I'll make a nice buffet. Eat me." It's hilarious. You just got to see it for yourself. Speaking of Thanksgiving, WKRP in Cincinnati, fantastic show from the 70s and early 80s, had a classic, one of the classic, most classic Thanksgiving episodes ever. I talked about it last year. I did a list show for the best Thanksgiving TV shows. It was either number 1 or up there. The turkey drop. My wife also remembers. She has a T-shirt about turkey drop. I remember watching it at my grandmother's house for Thanksgiving, and my dad loving it. So WKRP in Cincinnati is a sitcom set in a radio station in Cincinnati. And for Thanksgiving, they decide to do a promotion for their radio station where an airplane or helicopter, I think it's a helicopter, flies over the city of Cincinnati and drops a lot of live turkeys onto the people in Cincinnati because it's supposed to be, it's Thanksgiving Day. And that's where the joke is. They think turkeys can fly. So they're going to release these turkeys from helicopters. And the idea is to have these turkeys fly down to Cincinnati, have all these turkeys come down. It's like a Thanksgiving promotion, except turkeys can't fly. So basically they drop all these live turkeys onto Cincinnati and they plummet and just splatter all over. It is one of the funniest sequences in television history. And if you can find the video clip, you're going to see it a lot more on your social media over the next few days because it is a Thanksgiving one. It's fucking hilarious. That debuted 47 years ago this week. Casino debuted 30 years ago this week. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, another Harry Potter movie, the second one on our list, debuted 20 years ago this week. SpongeBob SquarePants, the movie, debuted 21 years ago this week. Elmo was introduced 40 years ago this week on Sesame Street. Elmo's 40 years old. JFK, I think I talked about this, was assassinated 62 years ago today. Actually, if you want to see a really good breakdown of all the conspiracy theories on that, check out Oliver Stone's JFK with Kevin Costner. Fantastic film. It's 3 hours long, but it's fantastic cast, including Gary Oldman, Joe Pesci, Kevin Costner, who else is in that? Kevin Bacon, Donald Sutherland, John Candy in a dramatic role. Sissy Spacek. The actor who plays Newman is in it also. the guy who played Merle on Walking Dead, and also in Guardians of the Galaxy, played Yondu. He's in it also. In the director's cut, which is not the original one, John Larroquette's in it as well. Walter Matthau, Jack Lemmon. Who's the other older actor? Ed Asner. So an impressive cast, a very interesting breakdown of all the conspiracy theories when it comes to the murders of JFK and the assassination of him. Still a part of the zeitgeist, not as much as it has been, but it's still out there. 62 years ago, it happened this week. Titan AE debuted 25 years ago this week. Anastasia debuted 28 years ago this week, which is a Don Bluth film. Titan AE is also. Don Bluth likes this time of year because these are the first two of his. There's a whole bunch of other ones as well. Enchanted, the Disney live-action animation combo, debuted 18 years ago this week. And Toy Story, the original, debuted 30 years ago this week. That kicked off the reign of Pixar and did fantastic business. Deaths this week: Alice and Ellen Kistler, German performers called the Kessler twins, died together in assisted suicide. Rebecca Heinemann, co-founder of the computer company Interplay that created and developed Fallout. Spencer LaFranco, an actor who played John Gotti Jr. in the Gotti movie with John Travolta, died 33 years ago this week. Died 33 years ago this week, yes. Carl Chirafalio, a stuntman, died this week also. He was 72 years old. Marshmallow hot cocoa is the new sort of flavor du jour now. New marshmallow hot cocoa Pop-Tarts have been spotted at Walmart and Target, and they should be spreading out soon enough. And the Home Alone hot cocoa and marshmallow coffee creamer has also been spotted a few places. So get them while you can. Kenneth Branagh is set to voice Goblin, an A24 buddy, a character in an A24 buddy comedy, which they're saying is a combination between Ted and E.T. Superman #1, the original Superman #1, was discovered in the attic of this guy's grandmother and sent it to... it was in good condition, really good condition too. Sent it to auction, and it was bought for $9.12 million, making it the most expensive comic ever. So that's pretty interesting, particularly in the world of comic books. An unexploded 19th century cannonball was discovered underground at Fort McHenry by a building crew who's working on repairs to Fort McHenry. So they had to shut it down and get the bomb squad out. So that's kind of crazy. Netflix picks up the A24 show, action drama Trigger Point with Joel Edgerton. We got our first look at Werewolf, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, which is Robert Eggers' new film. Gretchen Mol is joining the cast of Tulsa King Season 4. An untitled supernatural romance from the director of Lilo and Stitch, the live-action version, has been bought. It's about a couple during a Jane Austen era who has taken on a supernatural entity which could threaten their relationship. Harry Lloyd has been cast as producer George Martin and Sam Mendes' Beatles movies. This is a killer one. The Last Ronin, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle live-action film based on the award-winning comic book, which everybody loves, has been canceled. So everybody's freaking out about that. It would have been great to see a movie version of that. Maybe it'll get redone, but right now it has been canceled. Eddie Murphy is set to receive the AFI Life Achievement Award this year. It's the 52nd one. So started in 73 then. So that's awesome. Congratulations to you, Eddie. You deserve it. Another person who deserved the honor they just got, Tom Cruise, just accepted an honorary Oscar at the governor's ball, which is the early Oscar thing for special events, stuff like that. So Tom Cruise has an Oscar. Last year, Michael J. Fox got an honorary Oscar, mostly due to their work, and they never actually gotten one before. But Hollywood feels that they deserve one, so it's kind of nice. The first confirmed sighting of bobcats in Maryland has shown up on a trap cam out in Harford County, which is not that far from here. So bobcats are here. Now we're getting some weird stuff here. A bald eagle apparently drops a cat through a driver's windshield on a North Carolina highway. No word if the cat survived, if it was dead, but the fact that dude's just driving down the highway in North Carolina, all of a sudden this cat comes crashing through his windshield, dropped by a bald eagle. It's absolutely insanely crazy. Not as crazy as a woman was killed after she was trying to domesticate a deer, and the deer attacked her. You have to domesticate the raccoons, not the deers. They're not ready for it yet. I shouldn't joke. Woman did die from her injuries, but still, come on, man. Oh, I have another one I could add to that. In West Virginia, which is slowly becoming the Florida man, a West Virginia man was shot in the head. He survived. He's okay, though. After he got into a skirmish with a buddy of his over the lone rifle the two were sharing as they were shooting rats from their second-story house. So these two guys are chilling out, and they're shooting rats from their second-story window. They're running around their yard or whatever. And one guy, I guess, apparently believed that the other guy was hogging the gun, so was tried to wrestle it out of his arms, and the gun went off and shot him in the head. Yeah, and then I know there's another one over here too. Yes, there is. A bison flings a 9-year-old girl in the air after she won't stop annoying him. So fuck around and find out, man. You're going to learn. You're going to learn. Also, local news, Ellicott City unveiled today a TARDIS free library, free book library, book library, whatever, you know, those things you get there in Ellicott City. So that is shaped like a TARDIS. That's pretty cool. Tomorrow is officially Doctor Who Day because it debuted the day after John F. Kennedy was shot and killed. So kind of interesting. Miramax is teaming up with Qatar to make films and TV shows that will be distributed through the Middle East. It's a really good idea, despite what you might believe about Miramax, the fact that they're reaching out to foreign countries to give them the opportunities to make content, movies, TV shows, whatever, is really cool. And they're going to spread it out, obviously, to the rest of the Middle East, stuff like that, and eventually might make their way to the United States to be seen at indie theaters and stuff like that. First up will be a remake of the romantic comedy Serendipity with the luscious Kate Beckinsale and John Cusack. Jeremy Piven's in that, I think, as well. So that should be an interesting thing. So congratulations to Qatar for that. Oreo is doing something different. If you go to the Oreo website, there's a section called the Oreoverse, and they are allowing fans to vote on what old Oreo flavor that hasn't been seen in a while will be re-released in 2026. And the list is pretty decent. The big one that everybody wants is it's not called that, but it's basically the Fruity Pebbles Oreo, which was actually pretty decent. Last time that was out was in 2016. I remember it. It was actually very, very good. I liked it a lot. So basically it has like Fruity Pebbles in the cream. It's very yummy. So that's one of the ones you can vote for. Cotton candy, which was not a great idea for cookie. Carrot cake, which I'm not a big fan of carrot cake, but a lot of people are. Maple cream, which a lot of people didn't like. I kind of liked it, actually. I thought it was pretty decent. S'mores, which is probably going to be one of the big ones also. Red Velvet, which is another popular one. I thought that one that came out not too long ago. It was about a year or so ago. So it still was kind of been a regular little bit. Fireworks one, which is really good also. July 4th one, where it has popping candy in it. That was a pretty decent one also. I like that one too. And then the Space Dunkers, which had sort of poppers in there as well. But that was a pretty good one also. I remember that also. Churro, I kind of remember. But one of my favorite Ben & Jerry's flavors is churro ice cream. So I like churros, obviously. Cookie butter, I still don't quite understand the whole cookie butter thing. Snickerdoodle and cinnamon roll. So you get to vote on which one will get returned next year. I don't know if it's just going to be one or if they're going to pick the top three and re-release them. I don't know. They're also putting blueberry pie back in there as well, but that one just came back out now. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, so that's your list. So that's what you have to choose on there. All right, more anniversaries. The Mist debuted 18 years ago this week. Twilight debuted 17 years ago this week. The Producers, the original film from Mel Brooks, debuted 58 years ago this week. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time was released 27 years ago this week. Beauty and the Beast debuted 34 years ago this week. That's the Disney animated film. The Addams Family debuted 34 years ago, the same week that their sequel came out a couple of years later. And Back to the Future 2 debuted 36 years ago this week. Because they shot 2 and 3 back to back. They released 2 in the fall and 3 in the spring of 1990. So I remember that. Deaths, Jelly Bean Johnson, a founding member of Prince's band The Time, died at the age of 69. Rodney Ray Rogers, Jr., a NBA All-Star, passed away at the age of 54 this week. I think that's it. All right, now I just got about 1 page front and back on my notebook, and then we'll be done the show. Lucy Glow Apples is a brand new apple that tastes like Jolly Ranchers and strawberry lemonade. You can only get it at specific locations. Safeway is the one nearest me. Sprouts is another one you can get it at as well, even though there's not Sprouts near us. $200,000 in property was stolen from Shadir Sanders in Cleveland. Shadir made his NFL debut last week against the Ravens, and it did not go very well. He will also be getting the start this week, starting tomorrow. So we'll see if it goes any better. Twisted Metal gets picked up for a 3rd season with a brand new showrunner. Swap 'em. Michael B. Jordan and Juno Temple are set to voice characters in Netflix's Body Swap animated film. Juno Temple, for those who don't know, was in Ted Lasso. Everybody knows Michael B. Jordan. The Chronology of Water, which is the directorial debut of Kristen Stewart. We get a trailer for it. It's a weird, bizarre-looking sort of film that looks like a woman who doesn't remember anything is trying to remember some horrible events that happened, but also stuff about her past. Imogen Poots is the star in that one. The animated Tomb Raider Season 2 trailer debuted this week. The 5-part limited series thriller, The Boys from Brazil, based on the novel, is coming to Netflix and has cast Jeremy Strong, Daniel Bruhl, Gillian Anderson, and Lizzie Kaplan, to name a few. Deshaun Lockman has joined the cast of The Legend of Zelda live-action film, which, as I said earlier, is currently filming in New Zealand. Nev Campbell is set to join the cast of Black Dove Season 2. Sadie Sink, who is playing a mystery character in Spider-Man Brand New Day, has officially been announced as being cast in Secret Wars, playing the same character. So it is probably a very important character, and they will be appearing in Secret Wars. Sadie Sink also is set to play Juliet in the West End revival of Romeo and Juliet. She will be playing opposite Noah Jape, but you have to remember also when Romeo and Juliet first came out last year in the West End, Tom Holland was playing Romeo. So he moved on to Spider-Man. Sadie Sink joined Spider-Man. Tom's like, why don't you go do Juliet? I just came back from England and did the show. Why don't you do it? And she's doing it. So that's pretty cool. We'll see more of her coming up on Wednesday with Stranger Things Season 5. Department Q gets a second season. The Hunting Wife Season 2 has started production. And this got me a little bit. A casting announcement for James Gunn's Superman sequel is describing a woman character who people are immediately jumping on as being Wonder Woman, which could be. But the description did not come right out and say Wonder Woman. They read between the lines, sort of this and that, and it very well could be. But at the same time, there have been other characters in the Superman and DC mythologies that fit the same sort of description. Maxima, for example, is a good one for that, particularly if you're doing a Brainiac, which is officially now the bad guy in Superman movie. Now has been officially announced that Brainiac will be the bad guy. If you're doing sort of that Brainiac sort of space thing, Maxima would make perfect sense to bring her into it as well, who is a sort of Amazonian-esque character as well that fits the description of the character just as much as Wonder Woman does. We'll see what happens. That movie's not coming out until 2027 anyway. We still got to see Supergirl. They are doing reshoots on Supergirl beginning of this year. A lot of people believing that they're going to bring Superman in for that. And then they will, the movie will be released in June. I'm excited for that. I really want to see it. Actually, end of May, actually, I think now they moved it up. So I'm excited for that. Also, Doomsday is getting reshoots at the beginning of next year also. And then Secret War is supposed to start filming in the summer of 2026. Hence the Sadie Sink casting. So, yeah, there's that. So we'll see what happens. As I said, when I first read that, the description was vague, and it could have been Wonder Woman, but at the same time, it also could fit, as I said, a Maxima, could fit a Big Barda. There are a bunch of other characters that could fit, and again, it very well could be Wonder Woman, but it seems rather odd to bring her in now, or maybe not. Don't know. Anniversaries. Again, this film is getting a lot of hate recently, and I think I can figure it out, but I like it. A Christmas Story debuted 42 years ago this week. Christmas Story is one of those movies that I think I've watched almost every year since it came out. I think I saw it in the movie theater. I remember getting it at the video store. No, I didn't see it. I did not see it in the movie theater, but I did get it at the video store. And I remember distinctly when they released it, because back then it was hard to buy VCR tapes of movies at a reasonable price. I remember when they released A Christmas Story on video, and I begged and pleaded for my mom to get it for me. And she did. And I watched it over and over every Christmas Eve. I still watch it when I'm wrapping my wife's presents. I still like it. The Land Before Time, another Don Bluth film, debuted 37 years ago this week. So as I said, he likes this time frame. This is like the third one of his movies that has come out during this time frame. And here's another one, All Dogs Go to Heaven, debuted 36 years ago this week. That's another Don Bluth one that came out during this week. And oh yeah, GoldenEye, the second James Bond film to come out during this week, debuted 30 years ago this week. We ain't done with James Bond. He's got one more coming your way. What the hell is that one? Oh, Superman died. That's right. Superman died 32 years ago this week in the comics. I remember that distinctly. Also, it was a huge deal. It was Superman number 75. They had the regular comic, which had the flag, which had his cape as a flag put on top of a burial site. They had the black pack, which was done in a black poly bag, and it came with an armband and some other stuff as well. And it kicked off a long, it's like about a 6-month window where there was no Superman. They brought in, it was A Funeral for a Friend, which the stuff that filled out the holidays as everybody was reeling from his death. And then the Reign of the Supermen, where 4 Supermen came to reclaim the title of Superman, and then we bring back the original Superman. So it was kind of a big deal. It was a major big deal at the time because Superman had not died. So there we go. Leon the Professional debuted 31 years ago this week. It, the TV series with Tim Curry, John Ritter, Seth Green, Richard Thomas, I think it's John Ritter, and all them debuted 35 years ago this week. Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, Better Watch Out, debuted 36 years ago this week. The Rescuers Down Under debuted 35 years ago this week. The live action How the Grinch Stole Christmas, one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time, debuted 25 years ago this week. I watched it with my wife. We had just been dating for about 3 months at this point, and I did a movie premiere for it, and we stayed and watched it. One of my favorite Tim Burton movies, Sleepy Hollow, debuted 26 years ago this week. The Little Mermaid debuted 36 years ago this week. Justice League animated series debuted 24 years ago this week. The Star Wars Holiday Special debuted 47 years ago this week. It's all the anniversaries. Deaths. Girl La La La, a TikTok star, died at the age of 21. She was murdered by her boyfriend. Lewis Smith Jr., a comic artist or writer, whatever, he passed away this week as well. On to the final page for this week's episode. The Moana live action teaser debuted this week. Of the Moana live action film is set to debut July 10th, 2026. I knew they were doing one, but I didn't think it was going to be coming out this soon. But there we are. A new version of Sense and Sensibility will be debuting on September 11th, 2026 in movie theaters. I already talked about that. Mulled Blackberry Pear Ocean Spray drink is back in time for the holidays. And Cheerios, which when I ate Cheerios, they were plain, just sort of oat O's. They've now created Confetti Cheerios, which is kind of more of a sweet birthday cake style flavored Cheerio as well. I already talked about that as well. We got some behind the scenes photos of Robert Pattinson and Denzel Washington filming Here Comes the Flood, a heist film. So we got some looks at that. Mr. Clean has created some holiday scents for the Christmas holiday. So pick those up as well. We talked about Werewolf already, Robert Eggers' new film. We saw Aaron Taylor Johnson as his first look at that. Robert Eggers is doing something different, though. He's shooting Werewolf in 35 millimeter film at a 1:37:1 aspect ratio, which gives it that classic sort of film feel to it. So that could be kind of interesting to check that out as well. I also believe that it's set in the 13th century, and the dialogue is going to be 13th century dialogue. So that's even interesting as well. Street Fighter has finished production, the live action film of that. The Mandalorian season 4 is fully written, according to Jon Favreau. So we've got the movie coming out, and then season 4 is set to, I guess, be made right after that. That's politics. We'll hit that real quick. More MAGA minute here. Elon Musk decided to try something new on his social media platform X, formerly Twitter, where he released locations where if you were tweeting, it would give your location of where you were tweeting from. So it's all over the place. He shut it down very quickly when it was discovered that a number of right-wing, pro-Russia, anti-Biden, anti-democracy, anti-Moldani, MAGA official X accounts were actually bots from South Africa, China, Russia, stuff like that. It proved that everybody knew was that there was a bunch of bots who would come on and would, try to disrupt everybody. We knew that was going to happen, and we now have official proof that it happened. Weird Al Yankovic is going back out on tour. He's got a massive tour coming up, and he's going to hit Maryland twice, one in a location I've never heard of before, so I'm not mentioning it. The other one is Meriwether Post Pavilion, which is a huge concert pavilion in Columbia, Maryland. He's set to do his concert there on August 2nd, 2026. And also nearby here, it's only about 90 minutes away, he's also going to Hershey Park, where they have a nice stadium set up for that too. So he's going to be in the area. I think he's even hitting Washington, D.C. there, but he's going all over the freaking place, Canada and all over the United States. So good on him getting ready to do that. Now we're going to do some sports balling. My Baltimore Ravens have won 4 straight now. They're back to 500. They play the New York Jets in Baltimore tomorrow. Then they play the Cincinnati Bengals at home on Thanksgiving night. And then, can you get up there, bud? And then they play the Pittsburgh Steelers at home on December 7th. And then they go on the road again against the Bengals. And then they're back home against the Patriots, go on the road against the Packers, and end the season against the Steelers. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll continue with that. So good on them. Mark Andrews had himself a day. Mark Andrews, the one of the best tight ends in NFL history and one of the Ravens' best tight ends, became the most receiving yards in Ravens history. So he has the most receiving yards in Ravens history. So he now is the leader of that. And the game-winning play that put the game in the bag for the Ravens was a 4th and 1 tush-push sort of fake out. That's been a big thing that they've been doing lately, where Mark Andrews is under center and then he uses his big frame and gets pushed behind to get that 1 yard. But it hasn't been successful lately, so they've had to mix up things a little bit. They did something different last week, where I think Andrews pitched it to Lamar or Derrick Henry, and they ran it and got the first down. This is something different, though. So Mark Andrews is under center, and he takes the snap. Everybody's expecting him to try to leap forward. Instead, he bounces out and goes around the pile. Pat Ricard pushes a guy out of the way to make a lane. He runs 30-some yards for a touchdown to win the game. So his first ever rushing touchdown in Ravens history. It is one of the greatest plays I've ever seen the Ravens perform, and I was very impressed by it. But the team we played, the Cleveland Browns, I would be remiss if I didn't mention this. Myles Garrett, who is probably one of the best defensive players in history, and currently this year also, is now the only player in NFL history, not in Browns history, not in Ravens history, in NFL history, to have 6 straight years where he has 12 plus sacks, which has never happened until Myles Garrett did it on last Sunday, when he sacked Lamar 3 times. So good on Myles Garrett. You signed the big deal to stay in Cleveland. You could have taken your brand elsewhere to a playoff team, but you wanted to stay with the home team. You like the Cleveland fans and stuff like that, and it's a lot of fucking money. You're frustrated and angry, I get it, but congratulations on that. I would be remiss if I didn't mention it. Some sad news, the Ravens are playing the Jets tomorrow. Last week, one of their quarterbacks, Chris Boyd, was shot and critically injured before the game, like early morning before the game. It wasn't like it was like 5 minutes before the game. It was like Saturday night into Sunday, he was shot. I haven't heard if he died. They would have made a big announcement if he died, so he's probably recovering. So he's probably out of critical condition now, so he will make a recovery, it seems, because I haven't heard an update on it. So I would assume, since this was last week, it's been a week since that's been happening, they didn't announce anything terrible happening to him. It seems to me that he's going to be okay. So that's kind of stupid that happened. And actually, I don't have any last story now, because that was everything I have left. There's anniversaries and deaths. Let's just check real quick, see if anything has jumped up over. Oh, nice. My daughter goes to UMBC College. Their volleyball team, women's volleyball team, just won the American East Championship. So congratulations to them. So that's a big deal. Damn, my wife is still there. Dang, I can't be by myself. Ooh, on this day 31 years ago, Krzysztof Kieslowski's 3 Colors Red was released in theaters. Okay, we'll talk about that then. Starting the anniversary things. Red, 31 years ago. White had Julie Delpy on it, so that's the only one I saw them, because I like Julie Delpy from Before Sunrise. Okay. California bans declawing cats under new law. That's good on that. Stomach churning video shows worker slamming frozen ribs on dirty pavement, forcing closure to Bay Area restaurant. So that's disgusting. So there's some more news for you real quick. So I don't have to do it next week. Brazil has officially been named the world's top destination to visit in 2026, which is odd, because I heard that they have a lot of problems with crime there. But okay. All right, just real quick, and then there's anything else. Nope, doesn't look like anything else is jumping out at me. All right, I think that should be it. So right now, that is it. So it's just a few more things I don't have to worry about next week that I would be talking about. So we'll be done there. So now we're just going to finish up with anniversaries and deaths. We'll do deaths first, because I think there's an anniversary I want to talk about here. First up, Dan McGrath, a writer on The Simpsons, passed away at the age of 61. Paige Greco, a Paralympics gold medalist, passed away at the age of 28. And Mr. Hunter, a history teacher at my alma mater, Towson High School. I don't know if that's the same thing. I know alma mater is college. I think it's high school also. He was history teacher there between 1982 and 1997. I think I had him. I don't remember who my 11th grade history teacher was. I think it was Mr. Hunter. He passed away this week as well. All right, anniversaries. Don Bluth, An American Tail, debuted 39 years ago this week. Garfield Thanksgiving debuted 36 years ago this week. 102 Dalmatians debuted 25 years ago this week. Close Encounters of the Third Kind debuted 48 years ago this week. Jingle All the Way debuted 29 years ago this week. That's the Arnold Schwarzenegger Christmas movie. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone debuted 24 years ago this week. So yeah, that's a big one. I remember I went to the movie theater and saw that with my wife, actually. Dogma debuted 26 years ago this week. Fantastic film. Saw it twice this year so far. Casino Royale, another James Bond movie, debuted 19 years ago this week. Salem's Lot, another Stephen King miniseries, debuted 46 years ago this week. Rocky V debuted 35 years ago this week. And the final three big ones, Chris Columbus, who directed Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, likes this date because he released his classic Home Alone 35 years ago this week, which overachieved, as I talked about earlier in the show, but still a phenomenal movie. Love it. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. The 20th anniversary of Pagan's debut album. Pagan is a friend of the show, Mike Belinsky's band. They debuted their debut album 20 years ago. Next week, actually, not this week, but next week. But I figured I'd like to drop it in there and give him his props. So good on that, Mike. I've had Mike on the show many times before, and I did Snarkaholic Radio with him for the longest time as well. He's one of my close friends there, so that's pretty cool. And finally, Mothman's first official appearance was 59 years ago this week. And there you have this week's episode of Dylan Knows is in the can. Next week, Thanksgiving week is next week. It's a short week for me. I work 3 days a week, and then I have 4 days off. My daughter will be back from college, so that's going to be great. They're going to probably go see Wicked during that period of time. We're going to put up the Christmas decorations. I still have my Halloween decorations outside right now, but we're put up Christmas decorations. The tree and stuff goes up this weekend, next weekend coming up. I want to see the movie Rental Family with Brendan Fraser. I've been seeing that a lot on there. It came out. It's getting overshadowed by Wicked and soon to be Zootopia 2, which set debut on Wednesday. If you're lucky enough, go see Wake Up Dead Man at theaters. I don't think any of my local theaters are showing it. I will wait till December 12th to watch it on Netflix. But yeah, that's the big bit. So it's going to be a great week this week. As I said, it's Thanksgiving week. It's fantastic. So 3 days of work and then 4 days off, which I love. We get the parade, we get food, we get football. Ravens are playing Thanksgiving night against the Bengals. We get Black Friday. And then we get Community Day on Sunday. The new Fortnite season comes out on Saturday the 29th. The big event at 2 o'clock then. So this week's going to be packed. So yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. This is the time of the year I look forward to the most. My beard will continue to grow in. And we'll see what happens. I'm going to brunch tomorrow, which I haven't done in a really long time. So that's really cool. And I'm getting ready to say good night now. So thanks, guys. Take care, and we'll see you next week. Happy Thanksgiving.